Bring in North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer, member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, you heard the hearing as we did live. Your reaction?
Well, Maria, all I can say is thank you, Lord, for those two incredible men and leaders in the Pentagon. As I was listening to Secretary Hegseth, I thought to myself, it must be so refreshing to be a member of the United States Armed Forces and to listen to a leader like that talk about mission with great clarity, with moral high ground, with every member of the military knowing that he's got their back and their best interest in mind, and that the mission is for security for the United States of America. And then General Kane is just a remarkable tactician, strategist, communicator, communicates with such clarity, details that should be shared, avoiding details that should not be shared. It was very encouraging for me, and I know these guys quite well, and I spent a lot of time talking to them, but just listening to that presentation now gave me great confidence, and I hope it does to the American people as well.
Well, the Secretary and the General said that this next move in terms of this operation will have the military moving inward, further inward into Iran, giving the military more freedom. What does that mean on a practical basis, and what was your main takeaway in terms of your briefing from the administration on where this operation stands today?
Sure. Well, this was actually a perfect day, too, in terms of yesterday's briefing to what's happened overnight and where we are today. What the general is talking about when he talks about inward, so from standoff to stand in, means that the air dominance that has taken place the last few days that has created this uncontested now airspace over Iran means that our aircraft, even our drones, particularly like the MQ-9s and the type of high altitude spy planes, that they can, he used the words hunt, find, and kill the enemy. They can hunt with a clear vision of the ground, and not be subject to surface-to-air defenses, for example, because that's, of course, one of the first things you have to take out, that they did take out, was a very capable, by the way, surface-to-air missile system. And so that's a game changer in terms of dominance over the airspace.
The general just said that the U.S. had hit already 2,000 targets, that they've destroyed 20 naval vessels, a submarine, and continues to degrade Iran's military capability. Do you have any sense of that capability today? And I want to get your take on the U.S.'s capability, given the fact that so many of our assets are now in that region. And the president has talked so much about the fact that we cannot keep up with our adversaries on the march in terms of producing enough weapons in a timely manner.
Well, first of all, to that last point, we'd better get better at it. And I think that's certainly been a high priority for the Department of War under Secretary Hegseth, certainly under Deputy Secretary Feinberg, whose main priority, in fact, I think he eats, sleeps, and drinks the issue of a more aggressive, faster pace of producing our munitions and weapon systems. So clearly we have to get better at that. On the other hand, it's very encouraging to hear the general talk about our capabilities and the supply that we have of offensive as well as defensive weapons. I think one of the things this is proving out, Maria, is that we are better than people thought we were. We have more than people thought we had, and that we're willing to use them in a way that's useful. I think one of the things you talked about our other adversaries, remember, they're watching this. And they're probably thinking to themselves, well, today's not the day. If you're China, you're thinking, maybe not this year, maybe not as soon as we thought, because America's capabilities are in full display in a big way. And it's not even just the machinery that we have, which is superior to everybody else's, but it's the airmen, it's the sailors, it's the Marines, it's the Guardians, it's the soldiers. They're all better at this than our adversaries. So this has great geopolitical strategic advantage, and not just to the region, but really to the world.
Yeah, it's a great point, but it takes me to sort of the two legislative paths of what comes next. And the first one, of course, is this war powers resolution. How does that play out? And the second one is the conversation around a supplemental spending package, potentially increasing defense spending. You've heard the president. He wants a $1.5 trillion defense budget in 2027. Where does that go?
Yeah, so on the war powers resolution, first of all, we'll dispose of that again. And it's too bad that Democrats are so anti-Trump that they hate him more than they love America, to the point where they're going to hold up not only the certainty of Americans' dominance, but also just floor time in the United States Senate, which is of a premium to do these. And so it's time to get over yourselves, Democrats, and stop this nonsense. And Senator Paul, to be fair, we have one as well. The other thing, so we'll dispose of that, Maria. But with regard to a supplemental, I would not be surprised if they would bring a supplemental specific to this mission. And if they do, I would hope that we would quickly approve that supplemental and make sure that they have the resources, that the Department of War has the resources they need to be successful. With regard to a $1.5 trillion budget, I'm so pleased and so proud of our president for taking that step. This makes everything different. By asking for $1.5 trillion and talking about a $1.5 trillion budget, it changes the geopolitical calculation on everything else, including national defense, but also including all of the other negotiations going on around the world. It's a signal to our allies as well as our adversaries. We mean business. Yeah. We're really just catching up. Well, I mean, is what we're doing.
It's hard to know what is politics and what isn't when you consider what your colleagues on the left are saying. Remember, the strike against Iranian General Soleimani was the last time we saw a war powers resolution that passed in 2020, and of course it was vetoed by President Trump. Right. But I want to switch gears real quick while I have you, Senator, and ask you about the digital assets legislation now hanging in the balance in the Senate, because I know that we've talked about this for a long time, about the crux of the issue being whether or not crypto platforms can pay rewards for assets at crypto versus on the bank's balance sheets. Right. Your thoughts here, because yesterday the president tweeted out that it's the banks holding things up in terms of getting the Clarity Act back up on the floor and completed. It seems that there was an agreement between the banks and the crypto players that there would not be rewards paid. Where are you on this issue, sir?
So you described it perfectly. I don't think it really was the banks that were holding it up. I think by the end of the negotiation, the last time we were attempting to bring this to the floor, there was a mutual objection because, let's face it, crypto doesn't want to be exactly like a bank, and banks don't want to have to compete with somebody that can do everything they do without the same guardrails. I think the real sweet spot here is it's going to have to be negotiated by the industries themselves. We have to do it, Maria. We have to have the appropriate guardrails to protect Main Street, to protect our banks. But we also have to protect the United States from all of this business going offshore. We need to get there.
Particularly at this moment in time where the longer this is delayed, crypto, companies like Coinbase are actually paying rewards, right? Because there was that loophole to do so in the Genius Act. So it actually works in their favor to just keep delaying this because they're paying rewards.
That's true, and we do have to be cognizant of this. We have to protect our banks, our credit unions, community banks, big banks, and all the rest. Yeah. But we also cannot let all of this business go offshore. That's not in the best interest of the United States either.
But does that mean higher regulation for the crypto players? If they want to look like banks, shouldn't they take on deposit insurance, protecting community banks, et cetera, et cetera? Real quick.
Well, I think same regulations for both would be ideal. I'm not sure that that's plausible in the sense that crypto, why would you have an alternative if it's exactly like the other? Right. We just have to find the guardrails that are appropriate, Maria. And I'm not the expert on that. I'm on the banking committee, but I'm not the expert on the topic.
Senator,
but it's
we appreciate you weighing in on it, and we'll be watching your work. Thanks very much for being here this morning, sir.
Thank you, Maria.
Kevin Cramer. We're going to take a break, and then I'm talking with the CEO of Barclays, C.S. Venkatakrishnan, is here.